morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. As many of you may know this already, my name is Greta Rivero, and I'm the Director of Grants and Program Development for the Greater Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Foundation. And with me, I have Veronica Cordova, who is our Grant and Program Manager. We were founded in 1976. And we are a membership-driven organization that supports the economic development of Washington, D.C. metropolitan region. And what we do is we provide Latino and other minority-owned businesses and communities support through networking, advocacy, education, and of course, access to capital. The foundation is the nonprofit arm of the chamber, and for about 39 years, it's been helping Hispanics and other minorities open successful businesses through its small business technical assistance program in the District of Columbia. Our foundation is majorly supported through the Department of Housing and Community Development, but with our other partners, such as the Small Business Association and Capital One, we're able to support Maryland and Virginia as well. Today's workshop series on Build Your Financial Roadmap is spread out in 4 parts. We've already had one. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you both of our workshop leaders. We have Grizel Saez, founder of Harmoney Financial Literacy, and Manny Cosme, president and CEO of CFO Services Group. They are tag teaming it, so please feel free to ask any questions pertaining to the workshop. Thank you. Take it away.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody, and welcome to the folks that weren't able to join us on the first session. My name is Grizel Saez, and I do have a company called Harmoney Financial Literacy, and I specialize in creating holistic, realistic, and practical plans for people and businesses that really want to properly manage and grow their resources. Holistic wealth management is more than just numbers. It's about how you manage your personal and your business affairs on a daily basis. So that's a little bit about who I am. On Tuesday, we started looking at our financial roadmap. We talked a little bit about what's my why. We looked a little bit at goals, short and long-term, SMART goals, how important it was to stay on track, budgeting and cash flow. We talked a little bit about credit, and we talked a lot about expect the unexpected. Your business plan, that's a perfect segue into what we're going to talk about today. So when people come and they ask us, that Manny and I see it all the time, you know, we need access, what can you do? Can you help me do this budget? We need to say, let's just walk it back and let's just start from the beginning. Let's just set the stage, because unless we have an even foundation for your business, you're going to have that nice design, you're going to do all the right things, but your business is not going to be able to get off ground. Now that we're in that mindset, these are the common business plan blunders that we have seen. Number 1 is unachievable goals. 2 is not having the motivation and productivity. For some of us, not all of us, sometimes it's a tough transition to make it from employee or corporate boss or what have you into your own business. That's a different mindset and a different motivation. Improper budgeting. Here's 2 of my last favorites is a lack of research. You don't know your industry. You think you do, but you don't. And my personal favorite is failure to understand consumer behavior. Having goals is wonderful. Part of the reason that business, especially small business, struggles is because the goals are set way too high. And when you're starting out a business, and this is something that Manny and I can walk you through, it's important to have achievable goals, small goals. Have those small wins, which then you can escalate into larger wins. Have you found that, Manny, in your experience?
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, we use a really important concept is the idea of a BHAG, if everyone's heard about that. It stands for a big, hairy, audacious goal. And it became popular with that book, Built to Last. But you know, you have your BHAG, but that's actually something that you will probably never achieve. So it's that pie in the sky star that you always kind of reach for, but then you do have to bring it back to, but what can I realistically achieve now? Because you want those wins to feel good about. your business.
Correct. Thank you. Because last Tuesday we talked about what happens when you don't get one of the wins that you thought. Unless you have a plan B in place or that motivation to keep going, you just kind of spiral. And that's why many of the small businesses fail within the first year, definitely within the first 3 years, is those goals were set way too high. So one of the things as we go through the rest of the session today, the rest of the 35, 40 minutes are here, many businesses do think like that. The majority of them do think, I'll just change. And then what happens is you start out with your business model, and because you hit a few hiccups along the road, all of a sudden that business model gets morphed and it turns out to be something else. So what you started to do now, 2 months later, looks totally different. Now, some of that may be natural, but some of that may be instant gut reaction. Oh my God, I got into this thing, it's not working out, let me shift direction. And so that's when having a plan, that's when really knowing and focusing will help you determine. And that's one of the things we'll talk about when we talk about timing. How long do you give yourself to succeed at something before you shift direction? So the natural instinct in all of us is to shift direction immediately. Sometimes that may not be the best for your long-term success. So before we do a deep dive into our business plan, I want you to think about a couple of things. Research, research, and research. It's critical that you do the work up front. Determine the purpose of your plan. Why are you doing the plan? It is not just to get money from SBA. It's not just to open the doors. What's your end game? What is the purpose of your plan? Create a company profile. Now we've got some mature businesses on here, which is awesome, and we have some new folks. So even the new people, you had a life before your company. So what does that life look like? What does that experience look like? What is your new company going to look like? Document everything about your business. Document, document, document. That's going to keep you out of trouble, financially and otherwise. Have a strategic marketing plan in place. Be flexible, allow for the unexpected. But you know what, guys? The number one thing, explain to people while you care. So those are the components that are all going to fit into the business plan. So there are a ton of business plan templates out there. Personally, I'm a fan of a short and sweet and simple plan. There's tons of resources. Just find one that's going to work for you, no matter what that looks like. It's a living, breathing document. I mean, I've seen some plans that are like 23 pages. It makes my head pop off. Just do something that's workable. 1 or 2 pages, you can always expand. I'm working with actually one of Greta, somebody that you had referred me to, one of our chamber members. And he's awesome, but he speaks the way he writes, which is very flowery. And I said, oh my God, good man, get to the point. So your business plan should be focused. We love you. Everybody's going to love you, but they don't want to hear about you. They just want to know what's in it for them. So a business plan should have primary components. The summary, you should talk about what you do, what your product and services are. You should know what your market looks like, and you should have those handy. Your organization, again, who are you? Why should they work with you? What's your competitive advantage? Who works with you? Who are your mentors? Who are your partners? Your sales and marketing implementation. This is where I see a lot of people spend 75% of the time doing a business plan, but only 25% of that is meat. So when we're talking about a sales and marketing strategy, it's something that's doable. It is not theory, okay? And then most important to all of us, near and dear to my heart, are your financial summary and projections, which we're gonna go to, Manny's gonna go to in much more detail on Tuesday. So those are the essential parts of a plan, all right? So let's just start with the executive summary. The summary is the most important part of your plan and may be the only one that gets read. They may not even look at the rest of it. So consider it your elevator pitch. Short is better, people tune out, right? So, I mean, is it fair to say that we all judge in terms of our time? Is this worth my time or not? Elevator speech is just kind of what I did the intro, who I am, what I do, and who I want to work with. So you want to summarize what it is that you want to accomplish. A good executive summary is compelling. It should grip them. It describes your mission statement and it provides a brief, just a brief. This whole thing should take you no more than a minute. Tell them why you're starting your company. Brag on yourself. Tell them why you see a hole in that thing. This is kind of funny. Has anyone ever gone to like an all-you-can-eat and you have like 80 different things on the menu? It's kind of almost overwhelming, right? Where do you start? Do you start with the salad? Do you start with the entree? Oh my God, how many entrees? So it's overwhelming. Same thing with your business plan. You want to keep it short, clean, crisp, and concise. And maybe you want to focus on 2 or 3 things. Once somebody is doing business with you, then of course you can expand and you can offer more services, but you're going to have to get a compelling reason for them to want to work with you. You shouldn't have to make someone work hard to understand what it is that you do. Okay, then next comes the company description. What do you do? What need does your business fill? What are your product and services? Who do you serve? But most importantly, why are you different? And I put on here, this section is an extended elevator pitch. So once you have them enthralled, this is what I do. Oh, Griselle, tell me more. Then you can expand on what you do, how you're different, and how you fill a need. Make sense? And again, keep them short, crisp. This is where you describe your competitive edge. Then you go into your market analysis. This is your deep dive. So folks, this is where we see a lot of people kind of gloss over this. Industry history, what do you know about what you're going into? I think on Tuesday we had somebody in the bakery industry. I'd be curious to know what they knew about that industry and the projections for growth in that industry. So that's key. I think last Tuesday we also had someone that wanted to open up a gift shop. I would be interested to know the history of certain types of gift shops, what their gift shop was like, and what were the projections of their gift shop, given a COVID era of where people can't maybe physically walk into the store as much as they used to. Describing your target market. I want to reach households between 25 and 34. That's a target market. Saying I want to reach everybody is not necessarily a target market. Of course, we want everybody, but we can't service the needs for everybody. And this is a huge one, demographics. Who are you speaking to? Are they under 30? Are they over 30? Are they under 50? Or are they over 50? If you understand your demographics, you'll be able to target and market to them much better. Because we all know the way you target a 25-year-old is not how you target a 55-year-old. They may not even have the same type of needs for your service. And this is my personal favorite, is purchasing trends. I'm all about behavioral economics, understanding the whys of why people purchase something. We saw this in the last 2 months, the shift. I don't know if you know this or not, but the #1 thing that people bought during the 2 to 3 months of COVID, can anybody guess? I know it's not a polling question, kind of think about it. Games, the gaming industry.
Toilet paper.
No, it was games. The gaming industry took off. So if you were not in gaming or anything to do with gaming, you did not get that windfall. So understand the purchasing trends. And also, what percent of
I
the
did buy a
market
lot of
share?
games, I will say.
You like games?
That was me. I bought a lot of games.
There you go. Perfect example. Perfect example. And then market share. What percent of the market share do you want to capture? And you're probably thinking, well, everybody. Again, you're not going to need everybody. Let's say you're a gamer. I don't know if maybe somebody that's 80 years old is a gamer. You're not going to get everybody. Or maybe somebody under 10 is not a gamer. So understanding your market and then being able to say, you know, I want to target to that particular market segment. Make sense, folks? All right, so we get to organization and management. So experience counts, character counts. Doesn't matter whether you're a sole prop or LLC or a corp. It does not matter, but tell people who you are. Tell them about what you've done. If you're new to the business, what you did before, what your history was. If you do have employees, how many you have and how diverse your team is. If you don't have a team, then talk about your alliances, talk about your colleagues that you work with, talk about, again, that holistic approach. So when people are looking at our organization and management, what they really want to see is if you can fill a need. And one person can't fill every need. So it's important to have a team around you. If you're small, again, that's where mentorship and colleagues come in. And if you have a business, then that's where it's so important to choose who you would like on that team. Okay, so just because you're a small business does not mean you don't have experience and background. And just because you're a larger business and you have a lot of employees does not mean that that's the way to go either. So you need to look at their backgrounds and make sure that you have a diverse group that will be able to satisfy that holistic need. All right, we're going to get to our sales and strategy and implementation. This is where probably 75% of the time is spent. Although Manny and I would prefer that you spent 75% on numbers, this is where everybody wants to spend the time. Now, I'll say this, and I probably won't be very popular, but I'm going to say it anyway. We are all on the same playing field. If there's one thing that COVID has taught or COVID has given us, it has leveled the playing field. So now a brand new business can actually compete on the same level than an existing business. And you're probably thinking that's not true, but think about it, it is. And new business is fresh, is relevant, is current. An older established business has to prove its relevancy. It has to prove that it can still satisfy the needs. So take this COVID time as a real opportunity. And I will tell you that a lot of businesses, COVID is the best thing that's happened to them. Not so much for others, but let's dive into that. So marketing and sales strategy, keep in mind, we're all starting at the same place. Finding new customers. If you're already in business, keeping the customers. Attracting and converting leads. This is critical. Yesterday, I had a session with one of my clients, and he sells a product, and his people were all servicing their existing clients, and they had reached out to people that they had in their pipeline, but they weren't converting leads. Well, that's not a good business activity. They're not converting leads. A business can only stay in business if it is generating income. So attracting and converting leads, not keeping leads or not keeping things in your system. How are you going to reach out to people? What's your communication strategy? I just read something recently, I think was less than 23% of the people read their emails on a regular basis. So if you're counting on that newsletter or that email to reach somebody, you're losing almost 75% of the population. How else can you reach them? Social media, texting, video, there's a host of things. So for your demographic, how are you communicating? How will your sales be handled? This one is actually funny when you think about it. When COVID first hit, a lot of businesses, a lot of individuals were not set up to take online payments. And so they had people that wanted to pay them, and they said, send me a check. And I have to tell you that even in my age group, I don't know a lot of people that still write checks. So how will your sales be handled? In terms of your marketing sales strategy, what's your target market? Remember, we talked before about have 2 or 3 things that you're really going to focus on. Well, what is the primary focus of your business? And if that starts to go soft or go south, then what's your secondary? Forecast sales and cost of sales. Guys, that's a big one. This is going to make or break you. You have to be able to project and look ahead. Excuse me. And have a cost of sales. What does each sale cost you in terms of marketing? Every head that comes through, every person that buys your product or services, they have a number. There's a cost of doing business with that. And you need to know what that is so that you can be efficient and effective towards marketing that. And budgets and timetables. All this stuff means nothing unless you have a budget in place and a time frame.
Can I say one thing about the marketing? I just wanted to chime in
yes,
real
please,
quick
please.
on that.
Of course.
When we do talk about sales and marketing, actually it's funny because I was on a panel yesterday with the Hispanic Chamber on marketing your business. And so I got a chance to kind of explain to people about how I market my business and whatnot. But the one thing I'll mention is that, you know, people get caught up in sort of, as Griselle was saying, sort of the flowery aspect of sales and marketing, and this is what I'm going to do and whatnot. But marketing and sales is all about numbers. It really boils down to the numbers that you're being able to attract and convert. So being really clear on how you measure your marketing efforts and sales efforts is critically important. So that's what should go into your business plan, the numbers that you're going to do in order to convert and attract businesses. So, which I'll explain more about in my section, but I definitely wanted to mention that.
Oh no, that's critical. We talk about this every time we get together. And again, budgets and timetables. Know your numbers, budget accordingly, but have a time frame in mind. So thank you for emphasizing that. I appreciate it. So understanding what your product is. So understanding the competitive advantage, which is your strength, right? Understanding what need you're going to fill, that's your opportunity. Understanding not just who your competitor is, the person down the street or whatever, but understanding the external threats, a lot of which you may not be able to control, but you should always have a plan B. And then weaknesses, and we've talked about this before, is understanding your blind spot, which you don't know that you have. That's why it's a blind spot. So we always encourage you, whether you use our services, but find someone that is able to expose your blind spot. Sometimes the family and friends, they mean well, but they don't know your business. They don't know your particulars. They mean well. My son, who's the love of my life, he's in his 30s. I told him, I'm in Puerto Rico, I don't have water. And he said, Mom, just sell it and get out of there. That's horrible. He's thinking, and I'm looking, you know, it's an investment. I like it. So people have opinions about what you do. They have opinions about your business, but knowing your strengths, looking at the opportunities, understanding the threats, and having people that are in the business that can tell you and that can see what you can't see is going to be valuable. Manny, would you like to add to anything that? Because the SWOT analysis is probably the biggest piece of the business plan.
It is actually, Natalie here asked an interesting question. To make a realistic SWOT analysis, don't you have to know intimate details about your competition? So do you want to take that one?
Sure. It's important to know what your competition looks like. I would put it back on you. It's important for you to know how you're different from them, how you're going to attack things differently, and what market you're going to serve. You cannot control what your competitors do. And as someone told me a very long time ago, no matter what you do, there's always going to be somebody out there to do it, quote unquote, better. I say not better, I say different. So I say it is important. You should know what they're doing, and you will. You can join groups. There's networking groups. There's actually a ton of information online. So you can look at their numbers, because numbers in terms of their financials, that's all public record if it's a company on there. So yes, it's important to know, but it's more important to know you, to make sure you've done your research, you know your numbers, and you know where you want to go.
Exactly. I would just emphasize that it's a paradigm shift, because I do explain this to people. So exactly how you just put it is perfect. It's a paradigm shift. Your SWOT analysis always comes from your perspective. It's not from the outside perspective. So you can do a competitor analysis, which is obviously something you should definitely be doing on a regular basis. That's looking at the competitors and analyzing them. But your SWOT analysis is really about you and any perceived threats from the outside world. So it's a little bit of a paradigm shift. It's a different perspective that you're taking, but it starts from the inside out. And that's the difference there.
Yeah, and I would also add that once you start to feel or be a victim, you've lost. So a victim does not have any power. You are empowered. You are the master of your own destiny. You control where you want to go. So know you and know your numbers. Don't ever worry about what other people are doing. Of course, you have done your research, so you know what they offer. what they're offering and what they're doing, what their price points are. But you know you, and you need to do what you do better than they do. It doesn't mean knowing how they, function every single day, but you have the umbrella, but just do you, do your business. Especially now. I mean, right now you would be looking at it once a month, but whether you're an established business or a newbie on there, you still need to understand your business flow. Your opportunities are going to change. Right now they're changing. The threats are going to change. Your strengths are only going to get better. Capitalize on those. And again, the blind spot is your weakness. Surround yourself with other business people, other successful business people, your chamber, your mentors, so that they can tell you what it is that you can't see. So it's the same whether you're a mature business or a newbie. I would say for everybody does it when they're brand new because it's what we're told. But it's not, it's like your budget. Your budget doesn't stay and then you go, okay, that's it, I'll look at you next year. It's something, if it is, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you have to
constantly. We'll be like,
I mean, I do it every January or December, I do it basically right at the new year, because obviously it's a good time to kind of refresh and whatnot. So I update my SWOT analysis every year around that time frame. Also, I will say that the longer you're in business, the more you understand your business, the more of a place you take in the market. So the more powerful your SWOT analysis becomes. It actually could be a little difficult in the beginning because you're not really sure yet. But it's sort of like us as people, right? As we become older, we learn more about ourselves and we kind of, have a firmer place in the world. The same thing with your business. You establish yourself and now your SWOT analysis becomes even more important because you have more information and you can really see what your true opportunities are, your true threats and your strengths and weaknesses. So it becomes super important. It's very powerful.
Yeah, your strengths are your experiences, right? And the longer you're in business, the more experiences you're going to have. And that just solidifies your place. Because remember what I said a couple minutes ago, with COVID, everybody's on the same playing field because everyone has to attract customers. We're all doing it virtually. So having that experience behind you just puts you in a stronger position, because an existing business will have to continue to prove their strengths and relevancy, right? Everybody wants the new shiny, bright object. Everything is new and improved. I mean, how many webinars and seminars are there right now? And everybody is brand new. Let me go to this one. This is new. Folks, a SWOT analysis is tried and true. I did this back when I got my MBA. It has not changed. And I can't tell you how many years ago that was, although that was a lot of years ago. The SWOT analysis then is just the same as it is now. Know your opportunities, understand your threats, capitalize on your strengths, and expose your blind spot, expose your weakness. Yes, okay, now to our favorite. We're winding down here. At least my favorite, because I'm the numbers lady. That's what they call me. It's all about your numbers, okay? The financial summary and projections. Again, many of you on Tuesday were concerned about where do I get capital? How do I get access to capital? Having your plan in place, your lenders are going to want to know what your financial strategy is. They're going to want to know how much you need. You need to know how much you need. They're going to want to know what your cash flow is like. That's money coming in versus money going out. What's the money coming in look like? They're going to want to know what your break even. Now, last week I said we are not in business to break even. And if you are in business to break even, maybe you should consider not being in business, because that's not why we do what we do. But you need to know what that number is. Projected profit and loss. I'd like to say that we're all going to be 100% profitable, but I have to tell you, some months are going to be better than others. Some of it's cyclical, some of it is things that you can't control. So projected profit and loss. Balance sheets. We talked about it a little bit, just touch the surface. How many of you have an accounting system? I believe Greta was going to send out some sources, but you should have something to track your expenses, to track your budgeting, so that you can stay on a timetable. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on this because Manny's going to go through a lot of this on next Tuesday and Thursday, but having a summary in place, when you go to a lender, they're going to want to see these things. Yes, there is money out there, but you need to prove why you are worthy of getting that money. We talked a little bit last time about how personal credit and business credit are intertwined. They're kissing cousins. They very much are. So the way that you conduct your personal affairs is most likely a reflection of how you're going to conduct your business affairs. And I think we had one gentleman on the call last Tuesday that said he had, somebody was doing this for him. And I have to tell you, people, we're entrepreneurs, we're business people. We are responsible for our own business. It's good. You cannot do everything. So you can outsource these things, but you need to stay on top of it. So I would suggest that you meet with your accountant or your bookkeeper or your CPA on a regular basis to know exactly where you stand. So when you do go in for growth, for expansion, or for startup, that you have this in place.
Yeah, exactly.
Think to that?
And I'll echo because, yeah, we do bookkeeping. So yeah, we can do the books, we can do the mechanics of putting the information together, and we can help guide you in analyzing the information. But at the end of the day, it's your information and you are the one who has to make decisions on that information. So you do have to have an understanding of your finances in order to be able to make those decisions, or to even bring up to someone like Grisel or myself, hey, this is what we're seeing in our financials. Can you talk me through it, right? So your job isn't necessarily to put the information together, but you are responsible for the information and having an understanding of that information to be able to bring it to us. So we as professionals can help guide you best.
Exactly. And when you come to me, what the first thing I'm going to ask you is, did you do your homework? Did you do your research? Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at your projections. When you first did it, let's take a look at the industry. Where is the industry going? Is it something that you are doing, or is it something that is for your industry? Let's take a look at your focal points. What did we look at? So as Manny said, it's not your job to put it in the blanks. There's people that can do that for you. I don't expect you to be an expert on QuickBooks or anything else, but you do need to be in constant communication, and your financial strategy is just that. You are the captain of your own ship. You drive that car. So you need to know where you're going, right? The name of this is your financial roadmap. If you don't know how to get to that dollar sign, look at this poor guy. He's in a maze. Like, I feel sorry for him. How does he get to that money? He doesn't know. There's a clear path, but he doesn't know which way he goes. So that's what we want to try to do, is to avoid the maze. We want to get you there quickly and efficiently. We're professionals and we can help you do that, but it all comes back to you. This is your business. It's your direction. It's your why. Why are you doing this, and what's your end game? So what were our takeaways from today, right? Mapping your financial business plan. We want you to be clear on your goals. Well, we talked about setting achievable goals, right? We want the big hairy goal, the big lofty goal, but you want to eat the elephant one bite at a time so you feel good and you don't get indigestion. Do the work, do the research, understand your industry, understand your business, set goals. We talked also about identifying your market. We talked a lot about competitive edge. Don't worry so much about what your competition is doing. How are you different, and what are you going to do better? Mm-hmm. Know your numbers. Expose your blind spots. Work on a SWOT analysis. Set deadlines. Track your expenses. So we've covered quite a bit, I feel like, in 45 minutes. So what I think Manny and I would like to leave you with for this session is that be clear on what your goals are. Find a mentor, get professional help. And I'll tell you this, if you meet a consultant and they tell you that they can help you before they talk to you, I would say no, thank you. Work with someone that is going to look at you from a holistic point of view and talk to them, have them talk to them so they know you and they understand your business. One size does not fit all. And again, there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of information. But if anyone tells you, oh, I do that all the time, I can help you. Really, how? Set time aside to understand how they can help you to make sure that it's a good fit. Business plans, personal plans are just that. They're very personal. They're personal to you, and they should be workable as well. Be sure to join us next Tuesday. Manny's going to go over some more of the financial projections. So I do hope that you make time for that. And again, I just want to leave you with this. We're going to open it up to question and answer here for the next 10 minutes. And Rod, I would love to hear what you have to say. But remember this, guys, success is measured by the ability to sustain profits year after year after year, not day after day, not week after week. And that's what we're here to help you do, is to make sure that you do survive profitably year after year. Questions?
Yes, we do have a question on the Q&A, and it's, what resources do you recommend for seeking out business partners?
Manny, do you want to take that?
Business partners, like, well, I'm not sure what they mean by partners, like, yeah, mentors, consultants, or actual like equity partners in the business. I mean, if it's mentors and whatnot, I mean, the chamber is a great resource. I would start there, and you know, we have a whole network of people that we can tap.
Yes, Manny, plug us.
Yes,
there we go.
Absolutely.
Shamelessly plugging the chamber.
Yeah, she definitely, or I don't know, I guess Roya is looking for equity partners. So definitely joining a chamber is where it's at, but go ahead, you guys can answer.
No, I think that Manny is right on. And Greta, you know, I was hanging around the chamber for months before Rod said, you should just join. So commit to your chamber, commit to an organization. But I have no qualms. If I have an issue, I know that the chamber has a professionals that they work with that have been vetted. They know them, they know their experience, and I can trust them. So aligning yourself with someone like the chamber, and again, I will plug you shamelessly because it's worked for me and it's worked for lots of others. There are a lot of networking groups on there. The only thing I would say for now is that there's a lot of virtual groups, and honestly, you don't know who's on the other end of the spectrum. I deal a lot in the market, in the stock market, and I have a lot of people will say, well, I was on a podcast and they said, do this, this, and that. And I said, how do you even know that that person's profitable? You don't know.
Right.
So the risk that you run with getting quote unquote information off of someone that you don't know online is pretty high. I wouldn't trust it personally, but that's just me. But find a local organization that is grounded, that has the tentacles, that knows the business community. They will steer you in the right direction. And you can always reach out to me or Manny. We have tons of resources and references that we can point you to as well.
Okay.
We can throw it to
Roger. Yeah.
All right. So here, I want to make some comments, and some of them will be cliches, but I think they will actually be on point with what's been covered today. One of the cliches is no plan, no goals, no success. Okay? No plan, no goals, no success. The other thing is everyone wants to be successful, but not everyone wants to do the hard work in order to be successful. Okay? And these are things that I've, from my old sports days in high school and college, that I used to hear, all the time. All right, so the goals, they should be strategic, tactical, but yet achievable, okay? So you have your strategic goal, then you got to get down in the weeds and get tactical. How are you actually going to accomplish it? But the goals do need to be achievable. Now, the business plan, you heard about the SWOT analysis. Very, very, very important, okay? But next week, we're going to hear about break-even analysis as a part of the business plan, the income and expense analysis as a part of the business plan, your cash flow analysis. So I'm just so happy that we're having this series and that each segment actually builds upon the other. Now, for you attendees out there, that people pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get the type of information that you guys are receiving from Manny and Grizel and what the Chamber Foundation is putting on for us. So please, please take this information that you're receiving very seriously. And most importantly, I urge you and encourage you to actually apply all that you hear over the next few weeks. Those are my comments.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're so good at this.
Greta, there's a question for you in chat. How do we join your chamber?
Yeah,
Or you already answered.
I responded.
Okay.
Feel free to go to our website and have a look-see, play around with it and see what you find, but definitely go to our website, or you can just go straight to me via email. We can set up time to chat, and I'd be happy to walk you through some of our membership options and also link you up with our specialist. Our chief of staff focuses on the membership programs and benefits, so I'd be happy to link you up with him as well. Oh, Jonas is saying thank you.
Welcome.
And I guess that's it. If we don't have any more questions.
Well, stay tuned for next Tuesday, because we're going to
Tuesday.
put all this into action.
Yes.
Actually get some numbers on paper now. So make sure you do your business plan right over the weekend. We want to make sure that you're prepared so that when we start putting numbers down, you have an understanding as to what numbers you want to start with here.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you so much. Everybody, please be on the lookout for the email I'll be sending out tomorrow morning with all the information that you need to start working on some of the stuff you're going to get from Manny. Be prepared.
Yay.
Be ready.
Thanks for everybody
It's gonna
doing
be
the
fun.
poll. Appreciate it.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.